Okay. Okay. So apparently this phone has 4 GB recording limits. Oh, stretch. 4 GB recording limits on this phone. I thought I ran out of space completely. I don't even know where I was. I'm uploading that video right now. Okay, so basically, and I might have to stop any second too. My truck is getting unloaded here. I'm delivering caskets to Charlotte. Caskets. I've never delivered caskets ever. This is the first time. This shit is crazy. I'm over here at Matthews Casket Division in Charlotte. But so yeah, I think they just finished unloading, so they may have to come up here and give me my paperwork and I roll out. But until they come, where was I? So yeah, basically that's what I saw. Those blue orbs. They that was the first time I saw them. They came out of the sky very, very fast. I thought it was a missile. Come to find out, it was a cluster of orbs. They hovered. It looked to me like they were just, skating across the top of the trees, and then they just disappeared. And the thing I was going to say before the video cut out was that the way the light was, it was a weird kind of light. The light did not reflect. It didn't illuminate the trees. Is the best way I can describe it. It did not, if that makes any sense. And I know that it doesn't make sense, but anyway, if it makes any sense, the light did not illuminate the trees. Like, you could see the light shining through the trees, but the light did not illuminate the trees. Does that make sense? I'm sorry, I keep thinking they're going to come and hand me paperwork. But yeah, it was a pretty crazy experience. And so I think, okay, so they're still unloading. I can feel them back there. They're still unloading. So the second time I saw them, it was like maybe a month or a week later. I don't remember. The second time I saw them was I was coming down, what was that? I-85. From the Greensboro area in North Carolina, coming down I-85 towards, I just left out of High Point. Well, I didn't leave High Point, but I just passed High Point. And so I was heading down towards like the Lexington area off of I-85 in North Carolina. And as I was heading down, I had already passed High Point, and it's like a long stretch of interstate between High Point and Lexington, right before you get to Salisbury, where there's pretty much nothing, and you just kind of drive. So anyway, so once again, I'm just driving, minding my business, and I had that same inclination that basically said, look. So I did, and this time it was in my windshield at the top left of the windshield. I mean, okay, this particular interstate, this stretch of interstate, we were kind of like, I was kind of like at a higher elevation, I guess you could say, where the horizon is low. So the tree line is low, and you can actually see for a good ways, I would say at least, you could see the sky at a low level for at least, 10 miles or so, because you're at a high elevation to start, and the elevation is going to gradually get lower and lower. So when I'm kind of like being at the top of a hill, and you can see everything off in the distance, so you can see about 10 miles out. And so something said, once again, it didn't really say it like I said before, but something was like, look. So I looked, and off in the top of the distance, in the top left of my screen, I see a blue light. And this time it looks to me like a single blue light, but because I had seen them before, I just kind of assumed it was a cluster. And but they were way, way off in the distance, and you could see them coming down from really high off, way up in the sky, and they were just coming down, just kind of like gradually coming down like that, and you could tell they were moving at a really fast pace. But of course, because I'm so far away, I'm looking at the entire distance that they're traveling, if that makes any sense. So I would assume maybe a mile, maybe 2. I don't know how thick the atmosphere is, but I would assume they at least traveled a mile of distance in the sky, from where they were down to the ground before they disappeared over the horizon. Well, over the tree line. They disappeared over the tree line for what I could see. They was traveling for maybe, I don't know, 4 seconds, something like that. So anyway, now mind you, these are all before the accident. I saw that one before the accident, and this is the second one that I saw before the accident, a motorcycle accident. So I saw that. Okay, so anyway, so yeah, I saw that, and they disappeared. So I didn't pay any more attention. I'm just driving, mind my business. I was amazed that I saw it again, but it wasn't as spectacular the first time because obviously they weren't as close. So I'm driving some more, getting on down the highway, heading back towards Salisbury, and once again, I'm there's an area in Salisbury, well, near Salisbury, like between Lexington and Salisbury, where I believe that town's called Lexington. I could be wrong. But anyway, there's like these high tension power lines that stretch over the interstate, like about a mile before you get to the river, right before you get into Salisbury, heading south on 85. And there's these high tension lines, and off the side of the interstate, there's like this area where these people are selling barns and sheds and shit like that. So right there, I forget the name of that business, but they're selling barns and sheds and shit right there. So I'm driving my business again, and something said, "Look again, look now," or basically, "Look now, look again." It was that same inclination. Once again, it wasn't really words or anything. Something was like, "Look again, look now," but not at the sky. This time, look at the side of the road. So I look at the side of the road, and as I'm driving, doing about 68 miles an hour or whatever I'm doing, I look at the side of the road, and it was right there where those high tension lines are, where that guy or whoever that business is selling barns and shit, right there off the right side of the interstate on the median. It's like a big gigantic median section because they got all that stuff cut out, like I said, because the power lines go over. Well, right underneath those power lines, they're right there. There were 3 figures on the ground, standing there. And I've described this to many people before. I tell them the story. I'm not embarrassed. I don't give a shit. I saw it. Well, whether it was real or not, I don't give a fuck. I mean, maybe somebody else has seen something similar to this, so whatever. And this is the first time I'm actually putting it out there for the public. So if anybody's seen something like this, let me know. And if you think I'm fucking crazy, keep that shit to yourself, because I don't give a shit. I know what I saw. So anyway, so on the side of the road, there were these 3 figures, and the best way I can describe them, they had, like limbs, arms, a torso, a head, and legs. They weren't like super tall or nothing. They looked like they were, each one of them maybe 6 feet, and they were all black, all perfectly black is what they were. And they weren't skinny or nothing like that, like stupid aliens that people think they see. Well, I don't know, maybe people do see those aliens, but it was nothing like that. It was like these black figures, and it could have been people, I don't know, but it was hard to tell. But anyway, all black. The best way I can describe it is if you imagine wearing a big garbage bag suit. Is the best way I can describe it. Like you stepped into a big garbage bag leggings, you are wearing a garbage bag jacket torso type of thing where both arms go out, and then you got a full garbage bag head hoodie kind of thing. If you can imagine that, it's real thick and bulky, right? The only thing about a garbage bag is, because garbage bags are plastic, they reflect light. Well, these things if you can imagine this, did not reflect light at all. Because you know how a garbage bag, plastic has that sheen to it. So light reflects off of it and you can tell that it's plastic. Well, these things had like no reflectivity at all. They only had a shape. And like it was just a shape. That's all it was. And it was hard to, didn't even look like they were there. So maybe it was my imagination. I don't know. But it didn't even look like they were really there because they were not casting shadows, first off. Because, and I know they weren't casting shadows because anybody knows, like if you see something on the side of the road, the headlights of your vehicle, as they pass by, you'll kind of see like the head, like if this is an object, then the headlight will cast a shadow and the shadow will move. What I'm saying? The shadow will move. If that's a standing object, then it should cast a shadow like this. And as I'm passing it, then the shadow should just track right along with the speed of my vehicle. Well, there were no shadows. No shadows at all on all three of these figures. And the lights of my vehicle also were not penetrating them because there was no reflection. And it was like my lights didn't hit them at all. Which kind of lends the theory, maybe it was just my imagination. But I don't know. Who cares? Whatever. Point is, this is what I saw, and I'm just going to tell my story. So there was no reflection off these figures, and they didn't have a light. And like I said, they kind of look like they did look like shadows. That's what they kind of, well, not really. They were not translucent or transparent. They were solid. You could not see through them. Anyway, so one was standing there and kind of looking down to the ground, just standing there like looking. They were perfectly still, all three. Neither one was moving. One was standing there looking down to the ground, perfectly still. There was one that was on the ground in what looked like a fetal position, just kind of on the ground, kind of like this, you know what I'm saying, on its side. And then the other one was like on the other side, standing there kind of looking off in the distance. Not really looking at me, not looking at anything, but just looking off in the distance. And matter of fact, okay, there's some sort of a factory over there as well, where that river is. So if you're heading southbound on 85 and you're standing on the west side of the interstate, then on the east side of the interstate, over where that river is, down the river a little ways, there's some sort of factory. It might be a paper mill. I don't really know. I never investigated that factory, whatever it is. But anyway, that's the direction, the general direction that the other one that was standing there was looking, in the direction of that paper mill. So I passed them, and just make sure I wasn't tripping. Obviously, I looked in my rear view once I got past, and sure enough, they were still there. So I saw them as I passed by. And then I looked at them. They were right there off the side of the truck. I mean, maybe about 20 feet from the road, like off in the grass underneath the power lines. And the power lines are all there, and you can see the gigantic structure or whatever you want to call it that holds the power lines up. And so anyway, so yeah, I saw them. And so as I passed, I looked in the rear view and they were still there. So so I get down to the warehouse. I forgot all about these things. I'm doing, getting all of the pallets and shit off the trailer. I bring the truck back to the yard, drop it off, turn paperwork in. Get in my personal vehicle. This had to been at least 40 minutes after I saw them. It takes about 10 minutes. Well, maybe not 10, but it takes a little ways from there. Anyway, it had to been at least 40 minutes from the time I saw those objects. Now, mind you, this is all in the same night. So, not the one in Fayetteville, though. That was a different night. That was a month prior. But this night, like I said, I was going down 85, and I saw them off in the distance. They were coming down slowly like that. And then, as I got maybe 10 miles further, where like theoretically, those lights, had they landed, it would have actually been, theoretically, where I was that 10 minutes later. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I did all my paperwork, turned my truck in and everything like that, and was getting ready to leave the yard and go home. and something was like, go back. It was like, go back. So I was like, oh shit, am I really getting ready to do this? And I was like, yep, you're gonna do it. So I did. I went back up the interstate in my personal vehicle this time, and I didn't have any worries about it. I was like, whatever, we'll just see. I'm gonna go back to that same spot, see what's going on. And if nothing was there, I was thinking I was gonna pull my car over, shine my lights in that area, and see what I could find on the ground, what was there, if anything. That was my idea. But what ended up happening was, I get up. There's like a hill that you got to come up over, and as I'm cresting the hill, to see where that event that I saw happen, where it was at. As I'm cresting the hill, the first thing I see, blue lights. I kid you not. There were three, not one, not two, but three cop cars. I don't know if they were cops or whoever the hell they were, but there were three cars parked right there off the side of the interstate. Okay, three of them. And they were not like sheriffs or highway patrol or the local police or anything like that. They were all black. And one of them was a Dodge Charger. One of them definitely was a Chevy Trailblazer for that year model, like a 2009, 2010, the Trailblazer. One of them was definitely a Chevy Trailblazer. And it's now my memory's starting to fade. There were no Crown Vics. It was no Crown Vics. What was the other one? Charger, the Trailblazer, and I'm gonna say the other one was an Impala. That little two wheel front wheel drive Impala. And the reason why I can't identify the third car is because, and it was definitely a car. It was the Crown. I mean, not a Crown, but the Charger, a Trailblazer, and then whatever that third car was. The reason why I can't identify that one is because I saw all three of them there, and so as I was coming up the interstate, there were no cars coming in the opposite direction. They were all just sitting there by themselves. I was the only one on the interstate. There was no one behind me, no one in front of me, nothing coming in. In the opposite direction. It was just those three cars. So as I'm coming up and like getting ready to cross where they were, the first car, the leading car, which I believe was the Impala, it drove off, right? And the Trailblazer and the Charger was still sitting there. So I look over and they're sitting there exactly in the same spot, like literally the exact same spot where I saw those figures is exactly where they were, just sitting there. And then the one, like I said, drove off and went down the interstate. And I looked at my rear view, and he drove the Impala drove down about maybe 100 yards, and I saw his brake lights come on, and he slowed down a little bit, and I don't know what he did, but anyway. So I went up the interstate, hit the first exit, went over the overpass, and head southbound again. And so, as I'm heading southbound, when I went over the interstate, you couldn't see him anymore. It was that far away. So anyways, I had to come back over this hill again. And as I'm coming, the Charger jumps out. It's like about a half a mile in front of me as I'm getting to the spot where these cars are parked at. The Charger jumps out and he starts to drive off. And as I'm getting closer, the only car that's left is that Trailblazer. So I go ahead, because they're emergency vehicles. I switch lanes, get into the left lane, to make room and shit. And as I'm passing, I had a sense. I could be tripping. I don't know. Maybe just paranoid. But I had a sense like I was fucking being scanned. I don't know. Maybe that makes no sense. But I just had this eerie kind of sense, like I'm being penetrated. It was not the same feeling that I felt. Actually, there was no feeling when I had those inclinations to look here, look there, whatever, these kind of things. It was none of that. When I passed that Trailblazer, it was like a violation kind of feeling, like whoever or whatever this truck is or whatever's going on here is investigating me. And then I started second guessing myself. I'm like, man, I shouldn't have done this. I was like, why did I do this? Because I don't know what the hell this is all about. But, it doesn't take but a second to grab my license plate number. You know, because even if it was on some up and up or whatever, aliens out of the picture altogether, if it was some shit that cops were trying to cover up, I don't know. It could have been, this is just crazy theories. It could have been like, okay, yeah, that guy passed us while we were doing this crazy shit. So what we're going to have to do, we got his license plate, we're going to hunt him down, and we're going to find him, and we're going to do whatever. Which, in my opinion, is exactly what happened. I don't know. I think, paranoia or whatever the hell's going on. I don't know. It's crazy stuff. So anyway, I got back to my house, and it was all well and good. That event was over with. And maybe 2 or 3 months later, I don't remember what the time frame was when that happened, but I know in May of 2009 is when April or May 4/11/09. So April is when I had the accident. Or was it 5/11? I don't remember. April or May, I can't remember anymore. But yeah, that's when I had the motorcycle accident and lost that span of time in my life. And so now, like I said, right here in my jaw from that motorcycle accident, I never felt this before, never had whatever this damn thing is. It's never, ever been there. I know my body. You would know if there's some shit in your jaw and you're like, huh? You know, because after the motorcycle accident, whether it was days or maybe a week later, that's when I started noticing it. Like, what the hell is this? You know what I'm saying? And then I stuck my finger down in there, and I had never, like if you take your finger and like stick it in your, like where your lip, not your lip, your cheek, where the inside of your cheek meets, do it now. Put your finger in your mouth, and right here, where the inside of where the pocket, the fucking, I'm talking about, where the cheek meets the jaw. It's like you can run your finger all the way up it, like that. Well, right there, that's the jawline, that's the bone, right there on the bone, where the last tooth is. Underneath that tooth was now something, a little knot, an object that was never there before. I know my fucking body. Never there before. Ever. Something new on my body. And so, and then my mom said the craziest thing. We were talking about the motorcycle accident one day. The highway patrol didn't give me enough information. They said they saw a skid mark, and they assumed I was going too fast or whatever. I could have been. I don't know. Whatever. I don't have any memory of it all. They were like, yeah, we seen your skid mark. You were going too fast. Blah, blah, blah. Like, what? Okay, fine. A skid mark. But then what didn't make any sense is like, okay, so why would someone skid mark in the road? I don't know. It didn't make any sense to me. Not why would someone skid mark in the road? That's a ridiculous question. But what I'm saying is, why would someone skid mark and then that be the end of it? Why did not that my thing was like, why did the skid mark not extend off the road? Like, if I'm going too fast and say there's a curve or something like that coming up, or whatever it may be, why did the skid mark not trail completely off the road? And, you would still see the skid mark even in the grass. Because if someone's trying to slow down and they're trying to slow down, like, oh, shit. And your skid mark will go from the road, off the road. In theory, right? If anybody's trying to stop, you don't do a skid mark real quick and then let go. I don't know. Whatever. Point is that... Oh, shit. I can't take a phone call right now. Okay, I have to call them back. So, okay, so yeah, my mom had a thing. She said, she was like, I was talking about it, trying to figure out, well, what the hell happened. I went down to the sheriff's department to see if I can get the recording for the 911 tape. I filled out the appropriate forms. They told me it would take, days or weeks or whatever. And they told me, well, we may not be able to release it. Because I want to know, because apparently paramedics showed up or the EMS showed up some kind of way. So, hey, if anybody's watching this and you have any information about, obviously, I don't know. I act like I'm fucking popular and famous and shit, like everybody knows. But if you know of this story and you're in Salisbury and you might have been on that EMS team that night, or if you have any information about it, hit me up. Let me know. If you, what's the name of that road? I can't think of the name of that road right now. It's, I used to live on West Ennis Street. And anyway, I forget all that. So the point is like, yeah, I could have potentially been abducted. So yeah, so once they took that tooth out, this is the same. And after that motorcycle accident, you know, that tooth, you know, over the years just started giving me issues as well. And it wasn't like a terrible tooth. I mean, it wasn't bad. It was a good tooth. Like all my teeth are good. You know, I got great teeth. But that one tooth started giving me issues, just slowly but surely. Started slowly but surely giving me issues to the point where a month ago, it's not unbearable pain. I guess you just don't chew in that area or whatever, you know, to avoid the pain. But that tooth was giving me issues. So, and I remember it started slowly but surely. I mean, maybe a year after that motorcycle accident is when the tooth gave me more issues than before, and that's when I started to notice it. Was a year later. But I definitely noticed that thing that was there. And it's still there, by the way. That's the point I'm trying to make. So if I go back to the dentist and have this cleaning, because now it moved from the jaw down where it was, now it's up, like on top where the tooth was. Well, not literally, but it's higher up in the jawline. Way higher. It's no longer down here. It's up where the gums kind of fold over. It's like literally right there. And I'm assuming if I went home, and I'm not going to do this, but I'm just saying, if I went home and got a knife, a razor blade or something, and cut that gum open right there, which I'm not going to do, it's fucking ridiculous. I'm not doing that. But the point is if I cut it open, I should be able to pull this thing out, whatever it is. And it's a solid object. You can see it in that x-ray like I showed you guys. And I got a couple of x-rays when I went there. Oh, and then on top of that, forget that. Okay, the thing that brought it to my attention to begin with was that it had a sensation. And that's the other weird thing about it, is it had some sort of a sensation that would alert me to its presence. There will be times when I'm just sitting here chilling, minding my business. And you know, that it's that same feeling like when you're talking on your cell phone, like this, you're talking on your cell phone or whatever. And anyone, some people are sensitive, some people are not. I'm very sensitive to cell phones, which is why I never hold them. I try not to hold them. I always use my Bluetooth because I'm very sensitive. Like, I can feel my hand as I'm, like, I'll say I'm talking on the phone right now. In about a minute, it doesn't even take long, I can feel my fingers start to not, they don't necessarily tingle, but you can feel them getting numb. If anybody else has that issue where phone sensitivities like that, where your finger gets numb, let me know. The first time I ever experienced that was back when I was with Singular, and I had that Trio 750, that Palm phone. That was back in the day, like 2004, 5. I had that Trio 750, and that's the first phone. It had a little antenna right there, and the signal, and these are microwaves, by the way, for y'all who don't know. You know, the phone sends out microwaves. That's how it transmits, low frequency microwaves, I believe it is. And so, yeah, I could feel it. And so, anyway, the point is like that same feeling that I would get from what felt like a cell phone was the same feeling I would get right here times 10. This object, whatever it is, would give me that exact same irritation type of feeling times 10. It's the same feeling you would feel like if you stuck your tongue to a 9-volt battery. You know, we used to do that, like, stick your tongue on a battery. And, okay, I think this thing's going to end here in just a second again. But yeah, you stick your tongue to a battery. Well, not the ones that are the supercharged 9-volt batteries that are like burn almost, but like the battery that's almost depleted its energy, and you can stick it there and you can kind of feel it just a little bit. And that's exactly what this thing feels like. So this thing's going to run out. So that'll be part 2. Part 2. Cut. And hey, y'all, appreciate it, man. I think they're almost done. And we'll talk about this later. And hit me up on Twitter at Adante Macon, ADONTEMACON. And anyway, y'all, I'm out. I don't want this thing to cut off on me again. Y'all be good. Peace. Huh. Okay, so I was waiting to see. It went 30 minutes. Alright, never mind. Anyway, I'm cutting it out anyway. I gotta go use the bathroom again, drinking all this damn coffee and water. That's what you get for having potential kidney cancer. We don't know yet. I'm not claiming that shit. If it's real, then I guess we'll sort that out. Kidney cancer. Because, you know, the kidney drains into the bladder. The bladder might have some issues now, people. I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, I'm going to end this now. So, yeah, we'll talk about it later, and I'll finish up. And I keep looking because I'm waiting for somebody to come walking up with the bills. So, it's not like I'm paranoid or nothing. I want to make sure that I'm prepared and not talking to my phone when someone approaches me with the bills and saying, hey, man, you know, we're done with your load. Take this shit out of here. So, all right, anyway, hey, if y'all know anything about Blue Orbs, if anybody's ever seen it, hit me up in the, don't hit me up in the comment section on YouTube, because more than like, well, I don't give a shit, yeah, do that, comment section, YouTube, or Twitter, at Adante Macon, and, peace, and I'm out, have a great day, I don't have any announcements. Who the hell am I? I'm sitting here thinking, like, is there something I should tell these guys? What am I doing? Where am I going? I'm not doing or going anywhere. I'm fucking working. I got a job. I drive a truck. But guess what? All that's going to change. I guarantee it. I'm out. Peace.